An October 2012 report confirms, during the immediate aftermath of and following the uncertainty caused by the downfall of the Gaddafi regime in October 2011 and up until early September of 2012, Benghazi attack, weapons from the former Libya military stockpiles located in Benghazi, Libya, were shipped from the point of Benghazi, Libya, to the ports of Benias and the port of Borj Islam, Syria. The DI, and this is the Defense Intelligence Agency document, so this is a pretty serious agency. This is the intelligence agency for our military. It's better than the CIA. The weapons shipped from Syria during the late August 2012 period were sniper rifles, RPGs, and 125 millimeter and 155 millimeter howitzer missiles. The numbers for each weapon were estimated to be 500 sniper rifles, 100 RPG launchers, and 300 total rounds, and approximately 400 howitzer missiles, 200 each 125 millimeter, and 200 each 155 millimeter. Now, the document is unclear as to whether they could have stopped this transition, these shipments, or whether they even were running them. But the level of specificity shows that they were essentially in the room, or had someone in the room to get these numbers. So that so-called conspiracy theory about arms being run at Benghazi into Syria, true. And then we have the linkage of Benghazi and the Libya deterioration, the failure of policy, and the rise of ISIS. Because essentially what happened is that after they murdered, or allowed to be murdered, Muammar Gaddafi, Hillary Clinton, and Barack Obama did, Libya collapsed as a civil society, or what to a degree it was even a civil society, and all the terrorists rushed in, and it became a way station for radicalism to other parts of the Middle East, including Syria, and the coming conflagration there. This report was written in 2012. Said the opposition in Syria was driven by Al-Qaeda and other extremist Muslim groups. The Muslim Brotherhood and Al-Qaeda Iraq were the major forces driving the insurgency in Syria. The growing sectarian direction of the war was predicted to have dire consequences for Iraq, which included the grave danger of the rise of ISIS. And essentially what was happening is that the borders of Iraq and Syria, the military forces of both nations at the government level were pulling back. And into that gap, they recognized that you were going to have Al-Qaeda in Iraq step into the gap, and it provided an opportunity for ISI should, this is a quote, could also declare Islamic State through its union with other terrorist organizations in Iraq and Syria, which will create grave dangers in regard to unifying Iraq and the protection of its territory. Holy moly. They knew about what was going to happen in Syria in 2012, and they knew it was going to happen as a result of the activities of, according to this document, of the groups that the United States under Barack Obama were supporting and the rest of the West were supporting. And this document was given it to us in response to a request about documents about Benghazi. So it ties Benghazi to all of this as well. So yes, ISIS, arms in Syria, lies about video, all exposed by Judicial Watch. And this is why people get upset when Obama says people embrace conspiracy theories. They're not conspiracy theories. He's upset because people know the truth as a result of Judicial Watch about his lies and Hillary Clinton's cover-up. And this is the one that's going to really get you mad. We found this in December of 2015. 2015, 3 years after the attack. New Benghazi email shows DOD offered State Department forces that could move to Benghazi immediately. You heard that right. So the other conspiracy theory is that the military could have gone to the rescue, but they were not allowed. Well, in fact, that's what happened. What had happened in Benghazi was there were two attacks. There was the attack initially on the Special Mission compound that led to the death of Ambassador Stevens and his colleague from the State Department. And then 5 or 6 hours later, there was an attack at the CIA annex, which was about a mile or so away. And that led to the deaths of the two operators on the roof there. Now, according to this document, that second attack, we could have had military forces helping those people there, and lives could have been saved. Because this is what happened. At 7 o'clock, an email was sent to the top leadership of the State Department. State colleagues, I just tried you on the phone, but you were all in with S, meaning Hillary Clinton, Secretary of State. After consulting with General Dempsey, General Ham, and the Joint Staff, we have identified the forces that could move the Benghazi. They were spinning up as we speak. Spinning up as we speak. Means they were ready to go. All they needed was the green light. They include A, and then they redacted with the forces that were available. Assuming principals agree to deploy these elements, we will ask State to procure the approval from host nation. Please advise how you wish to convey the approval to us. Well, we now know what happened. They were never sent. In fact, they were delayed. They didn't get in there late until special forces traveled to Benghazi from Tripoli on their own initiative. Other military assets were only used to recover the dead and wounded and to evacuate U.S. personnel. In fact, they only had one plane available to move our people out of Benghazi. They had to leave some people behind because they didn't have enough people, enough planes to take everyone out at once. Unbelievable. So, another conspiracy theory. We could have sent people to get there in time. Our military was ready to go. Leadership of the Obama administration, Hillary Clinton, failed to utilize them. In fact, when they finally did arrive, I don't have the specifics in this release, but I recall pretty specifically. You may double check me on this, but you'll figure it out exactly what's right, is that there was a delay in deploying troops because they didn't want to have them in military uniforms. Because they were embarrassed. They didn't want to agitate the Libyans any further. So forgive me for going on a little bit, but I am angry about what happened in Benghazi. I'm still angry about it. We lost people unnecessarily, and our government's been lying about it ever since. And believe it or not, we are still fighting for Benghazi records. We're still fighting from this State Department on Benghazi records. So, I mean, those 4 men who died there, their families, I wish them the best. But I'm also thinking of those who deployed militarily overseas or civilian personnel deployed overseas. Don't think this hasn't impacted them. Because the promise had been, if things go to hell in a handbasket, we'll have our people there to protect and save you and rescue you in a timely fashion. And that promise was thrown out the window as a result of Benghazi and the refusal to hold anyone accountable for the failure to keep that commitment we give to our people that we send overseas on our behalf.